Good morning, lovely people, or actually it's afternoon already. Goodness me, where's time going? I don't know. Anyway, yay, we're in the kitchen, but we're not going to do any cooking. We're going to do some sewing. Oh, finally. The weather in February has not been great. Combination of a lot of rain, then the freeze, and then another week of a lot of rain. So I haven't been back to the garden. Apart from I've had one more foray since the snow to go and do some harvesting, but otherwise haven't touched the garden, and I'm dying to get on with things, but they can wait. The temperature is going up a bit, but there's a howling gale out there today. You can't hear it, can you? And it's really quite a cold wind, so do you know what? There's things to do indoors. What's the point of putting myself out in that and being miserable when I can get on with things in the flat, including my first sewings? More of that in a second. First of all, I've had a delivery this morning. I haven't even opened it yet. I'm dead excited. Let me show you. Oh, it's heavy. So this is my delivery. You can see on the top, can you see? Potatoes enclosed. This is my delivery from Tamar Organics, named I guess for the Tamar River down in the West Country, somewhere I would love to live. House prices, cottage prices down there these days. All the second homers have priced me out of having even one home. Never mind. Anyway, yes, so Tamar Organics, I mentioned them sometime before Christmas when I was talking about various seed companies, organic seed companies, and trying to look at some of the smaller businesses that support these small businesses. Lots of them are, you know, they're a family business, or it's just a couple of people, whatever. So I've never used them before. I don't know what they're going to be like. When I did my seed orders, you'll have seen from the seed video at the beginning of January or so, I've got seeds from Vital Seeds, Real Seeds, the Seed Cooperative. So I sort of spread my business about across a few companies to give them all a little bit of custom. Of course, that meant I was paying postage to each company as well, which made it a bit more expensive, but I'm happy to do that to support these small companies. And also what I thought was, you know, if I get a little bit from everyone, I can see, is there one that I really prefer, and maybe I'll just go with one company next year. Chances are I'll go with a couple. So, let's see, let's look at packaging. Oh, great. So that's obviously my invoice. I thought all this paper meant there was no net bag. There is a net bag still. I'd really like to see the end of these net bags from companies. Please, companies, stop using these net bags. I mean, it's not totally the end of the world. We can reuse them. Cut them open at the top really carefully, and then keep this bag, and you can use it as a support for if you've got a squash climbing up teepees like I do each year. If some of them are getting really big, you can put one of these under it, sort of string it up to give it a little bit of extra support. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll have seen a couple of years ago Sheena did just that. Okay, so what's great on the box itself, it says, please open immediately and leave to chit in a light frost-free place. Plant out when conditions allow in March or April. The key thing here is light, as in, there's not much light, and frost-free. I will start these chitting in my shed when I next go to the garden. You will hear people talking about chitting or not chitting. I always do. Well, do I always? Generally I do, because what happens is your seed potato order arrives before it's time to plant out. The old school traditional day for planting potatoes is the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day. I've only ever managed to be ready to do it once on St. Patrick's Day, and I really, really tried hard to be ready to get it done that particular St. Patrick's Day, because one of my dear old friends down at my garden, Paddy, our beautiful Irish old boy, he had died in the September of the previous year, and I really wanted on St. Paddy's Day to get my potatoes in a way it was my own little sort of tribute and thank you. I'll get all weepy. It's my own little tribute and thank you to Paddy, because he was such a good friend to me and so many others. Just the most delightful, naughty soul to have around and garden with. Anyway, sorry, big digression. So I will take these to the shed. We should be frost free now. I'll get them started. I'll show you that when I go down and take them, but I will bear in mind, just in case we do get another unexpectedly, really cold period where we're getting frosts, I will be ready with some fleece to put over them to protect them. When it comes to it, yeah, I'll show you, I side up, all that kind of stuff. But for now, I will just, with this box, I'll have it open to the light. I'm going to put it out in my hallway where it's light, and it's pretty cool out there. At this time of year, it's probably not going to get much above 7 or 8 degrees out on my landing, so that'll be great. Yay, I can't actually remember which ones I've got this year, because, that's right, Cara. So that's going to be my main crop. These will stay in the ground and I'll dig them all out in about October for storing over winter. They're my big ones for jacket potatoes, for roasting, for having in my fasolada. It was my salad potatoes that I had to change this year, because my God, these are whoppers for salads. Look at the size of them. Normally I do Anya, which is a cross between, I think it's a cross between Charlotte and Pink Fire. It's a sort of fingerling one. Tamar don't produce them. So this is Charlotte. They're blooming huge. Yay! It's starting to feel like the year is underway. Okay, so I'm going to pop these out on the landing, and then let's get sowing. Okay, time to get sowing. So today it's all peppers. I'm going to be sowing 3 varieties. They're all sweet peppers. That's what I prefer. I'm not really into heat. But this is a great time if you do like your hot peppers, your chili peppers, get those going too. Aubergines, all of these kind of gorgeous fleshy fruits, which actually take quite a long season to grow. So they do need starting now, but they need a bit of help in terms of warmth. So I'll come on to that in a second. The 3 varieties I grow each year are the very basic orange bell. That's a sort of standard shaped bell pepper. It goes a beautiful, shocking orange colour. It's gorgeous. However, it can be eaten when it's green. It's just a bit more bitter. It doesn't have that sweetness yet. They've generally done quite well for me. Then I have my Doux de Longe, which is my beautiful Basque region, long, skinny, slightly wrinkly pepper. Like I said, these are all sweet peppers. And then finally, what's become my firm favourite in the last couple of years, my Feher, I was going to say Ozon, that's how it's written. Gabby did give me a pronunciation lesson in it. I can't do it. I cannot get my tongue around Eastern European languages. Sorry. So Feher Ozon, it's from Hungary. It's a paprika pepper, so I use it exactly as I do my sweet peppers. It's just got a bit more kick to it, and it's the kind of peppy that you could dry and grind to use as a spice through the winter. I don't. I chop up the flesh and whack it in the freezer to use throughout the winter. Obviously I eat them fresh and either raw or cooked from the garden in the late season, but these will all take from now until, gosh, right through to the end of September before I'm picking. So yeah, they do need a long season. So because we start them so soon, it's pretty cold out there. You know, I have an unheated cold frame. I know a lot of you have unheated greenhouses. Starting them out there, they're not going to like it. They're going to want between 22 and 25 degrees of centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Do your conversion to germinate. So once these are all sown, they'll go into my front window, my south-facing window. It gets a lot of sunlight when we've got sunlight, and that action of the sun through the window, it does create a really warm, cosy spot there. But they will also be inside this propagator. It's such a bog standard bit of kit. So, for example, you can buy the gravel trays completely separately. I was really lucky that a few years ago now, I was given 2 of these as a Christmas present. Obviously I had a load of gravel trays anyway, and then a couple of years ago I bought these lids separately, sorry I can't remember where from, in order to create 2 more propagators when I started getting really into doing my peppers, because I also use these for the celery. So yeah, really a bog standard bit of kit. Yeah, it's plastic, which isn't ideal, but on the other hand, it's really sturdy stuff. This is going to last years. I mean, virtually all the kit in my shed in terms of pots, trays, I've scavenged when they've been thrown away. I look after them, I stack them neatly, I clean them. They do last forever, so don't necessarily go, oh, plastic. The thing about plastic and not is, I suppose in a way about the conversations around plastic is, it's not so much go through your home and throw all your plastic away, what a waste to put it all into landfill. The main thing is to reduce the amount of new plastic we're buying, new plastic we're creating, new plastic we're making a demand for. So it might be worth looking on places like eBay, for those who have it, Craigslist, all that sort of stuff. There's always gardening stuff going on these sites. You know, for whatever reason, people start a garden and then can't keep it up. They move house and no longer have a garden. Oh my God, that must be so painful. For whatever reason, people get rid of their kit. So have a look, and once you've got your kit, look after it. So anyway, back to the propagator. So they'll all go in this. There are little vents at the top. I keep those closed until I start to see emergence of the seedlings. Then I will open them during the day just to let a bit of air circulation to help prevent damping off. If it's a really warm, beautiful day, the lid will come off completely. And then in the evening, because it does get really quite chilly still, and where in that window, because it's sort of exposed on 3 sides, that window sort of sticks out of my roof. So it's exposed on 3 sides, so that little area the temperature does drop quite a bit. So just before sundown, where they're all on that windowsill, they'll all get a nice covering with bubble wrap to just trap whatever heat's been generated during the day, just to trap that in there in the evening. And then the thing to remember is the next day, take your bubble wrap off. The other thing you could do, and you'll see people doing this, is you could create a big box for the window that's minus the front side facing the window. So say you were all the window, I'm sitting in your window, you create a box with 3 sides, so it's behind me, and to the side. Line that with tin foil, and then that's going to help reflect light and warmth back into that area. I don't do that. I found over the years I haven't really needed to. I do turn, once the seedlings are up, I do turn them once a day so that they're not all bending too far forward, reaching for the light. Okay, compost. Bogs, actually I'm going to tip you down. I'm going to start sowing whilst we chat. Come on, let's sow some seeds, yay! Okay, so I've got all my little pots ready already. These are all little 2-inch, sort of 4 centimetre pots. I happen to have a load of these. They were a load that my great aunt had and was no longer using, so I'm reusing them. But when you've seen, I've got my paper pot maker, which I'll be using for my celery, which is going to be in another month's time. My paper pot maker makes pots about the same size. Perfect to just get all these little ones going. Right, let's start with the Feher Ozon. Now, all these pepper seeds look very much the same, so one tray at a time and concentrate. So yes, the compost, it's a multi-purpose compost. It's basically whatever I can get my hands on. It's peat free. I never use compost with peat in, apart from that one accident last year when I was getting so desperate and I managed to bag 3 bags of compost. I was so chuffed, got it home, and then I was like, oh no, it has peat in it. Anyway, so yeah, just a bog standard multi-purpose compost. Oh, beautiful seed. I mean, look, they're tiny. And then you think about the potential these beautiful seeds hold. This point in the year, every year when we have our seeds out and get sowing, and we're creating the opportunity for these miracles to happen. Oh my goodness. So I'm actually going to sow 2 per pot. Folk are always asking me how many plants of each plant do I grow, how many, how do I know how many to grow? Some of that is educated guesswork and some of it is trial and error, experience. I know that I would like about, in an ideal world, I'd like about 30 or 40 of the Feher Ozon, about the same of the orange bell, and maybe sort of 20 to 30 of the Doux Longe. So I'm going to pop 2 in each pot. I've got 18 pots in here. So in a perfect world, I'd end up with 36 plants. I might actually sow some more in another tray if I'm honest. Because the other joy, one of the deep joys with growing, is getting ready to plant and realising that you have more than you need. Always oversow. If you want 10 plants, sow 20. Because the chances are 3 or 4 won't germinate. You'll get, say, 16 or 17 germinate. 2 or 3 of those will keel over, so you're left with 14. You want 10. Hopefully you'll end up with 14 good plants to choose from. And the 4 that you don't need, give them away. It really is the best feeling. I know, I've been on the receiving end of it when there was the year when all my tomatoes completely failed because I'd got a really hinky batch of compost, and literally, I don't know, I think across about 6 of my plot friends, they rescued me with all of their spare tomato plants. So I ended up with about 36 tomato plants, like I say, coming from about 6 different friends, and honestly, I've never ever been so grateful for plants in my life. So yeah, oversow for yourself, and then if you can get them all to fruition, either give those spares away to your friends, or I don't know how it will be because of COVID, but also I know that in my area there are a couple of plant sales in the spring which are done on behalf of various charities. So if you've got spares and you don't have friends to give them to, you could always think about donating them to a plant sale done in aid of charity. Or if you don't have any specific friends, if you have no friends, I'm kidding. No, if you don't have any friends who garden, you could always, you know, put a little post on one of the social media sites for your area to say, would anyone like some? Oh, that was another thing I managed to get a couple of years ago when my potato order from my previous company, this compost has got twigs in. Ah, it's the usual thing, isn't it? Yeah, I had half of my seed potato order didn't arrive. Or something had gone wrong with it. I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, on my local Facebook group, there was a lass up the road from me, and she'd been chitting her potatoes, and then she got to she's not on the allotment, she's a complete stranger to me, and she was starting her first vegetable garden in her back garden, in her home garden, and she ended up with about, I think it was about 8 or 10 spare ready chitted potatoes that she advertised. And I said, yes, please. And it was great because she's fairly local to me, just a short walk away. Perfect. Okay, so they're getting a covering of, oh gosh, it's only a few millimetres, barely half a centimetre. Before I sowed them, sorry, I should have said that I had tamped down the compost a little bit. Just gently tamp it down again. Make sure the seeds are in good contact with the growing medium. I'll now give them a little bit of water. The compost, it's not bone. Hang on, let me get the water now. This is a fab little watering can. It's by Hurrah. This is the same make as my big metal ones in the garden. This only, look, I love it because it's got this handy little place to hold the spout. Later on, when the seedlings are really big, I don't use the rose, I just use the spout. But at this stage, off it comes, on it goes. I do use the rose. Yeah, so this is a really, really handy one for having at home when I'm at this, like, lots and lots of seedling stage. Hurrah's watering cans, I've got to say, they're not cheap, but they last forever. They used to, at least the metal ones, they used to come with a lifetime guarantee. I think they now come with either a 10 or 25-year guarantee. But I've seen loads for sale on eBay and other kind of auction type sites, which are, you know, they're easily 50, 60 years old. They're beautiful, the vintage ones, they cost a fortune. Yeah, so if you don't have, or if you're looking to replace watering cans, this one is plastic, but it shouldn't degrade, it's indoors, out the way of the sun. But if you're looking for new watering cans for your garden because your plastic ones have collapsed and, you know, disintegrated, do think about metal. And like I said, these are hideously expensive, but it's one of those things, hopefully you will only buy it once in your entire life. Pop it on your Christmas list, and then maybe if it's the sort of thing, if you're a sensible family and you can have a limit of £5, £10 spend on each other, maybe everyone can club together to get them for you. Not forgetting, of course, my label. This light makes it hard to see. The variety and the daytime sowing will go in there. And as I've kind of talked about previously a little bit, my notebook, it's very simple. This is my plan for the year. And then on my next page, I start writing down, on here I'll have date variety, date sown, date germinated, date sent to the cold frame for hardening off, date planted in the garden, or date sown direct, whatever it is. So I will make a note that I've done my peppers today. Actually, feeling the weight of it, I think it could probably do with bit more, just a bit more, because what these guys want, they want moisture, they want heat, well, warmth, and they want light. So, propagator lid goes on, vents remain closed, that will go to the window. And then I start the next tray. You know, almost feels like this year is getting underway. This is always a lovely moment. I know I planted my peas and sweet peas right at the beginning of January. Then there's this big 6-week gap to these little fellas today. It will feel like the year is really underway. I think when we get into March, when the weather is a bit more settled in terms of it's regularly warmer, and it will get to that time of year when I'm spending 3, 4, 5 days, well, not days, but mornings or afternoons in the garden. Suddenly that work is going to start to gather momentum. More time outside, love it. But you know, even indoors today, it's great. It's just great to have that kind of smell of damp compost. Dirt under my fingernails. I should have done my fingernails need cutting. I should have done it before I started, never mind. Yeah, it's great. We're underway. Yay! Finally. All right, my lovelies. Weather depending, hopefully I will see you again really soon in the garden. The way it's looking for the next couple of days, I've got a feeling the next time I see you, I might be on the sofa again. We'll see. So until then, whatever you're up to, please stay well, stay safe, stay happy. If you can, get your fingers in some dirt, because I tell you what, it ain't half good for the soul. Until then, lovelies, cheerio.